We know how to enforce the laws. We know how to capture bad guys. We know where they ought to go. We know how long they ought to go there. But the left has upended the entire damn thing. The entire damn thing by using race and all the rest of it. You know, ladies and gentlemen, we have these horrific mass murders taking place. 2 of them in California. 2 of them basically the same ethnic community on New Year's. The Chinese American community. We have 11 murdered in Monterey area. We have 7 murdered Half Moon Bay, which is a beautiful area. The guy that murdered the 7 most recently is like 63 or something. Of course, this is real carnage. It is appalling. Just so you know, thousands and thousands and thousands of people are murdered every year. You just never hear about it. And the vast majority is black on black crime. And the vast majority of that is young black men killing young black men. Those are the FBI statistics. I didn't make it up. And yet, until we understand that, it becomes very difficult to police that and to confront that when you have particularly white liberals and minority civil rights leaders, quote unquote, self-assigned and self-appointed, trashing cops. The only thing between the criminal and the citizen is the cop and your gun. And in many of these cities, it's very difficult to get a gun in many of these states. One of them is California. California has, with New York and New Jersey and Illinois, the most onerous gun laws in the country. So it's very difficult to get a gun. Despite the Supreme Court's rulings, you have local governments and state governments always trying to weasel their way around them. And California's a tough state. But people get weapons. They can go through the background check system, and there is a background check system. How do I know? I have 5 weapons. That's how I know. You don't just get to walk in and buy these guns. You have to wait after you fill out an application. The federal government takes a look at it. They go through it. They go through their databases and computers, which also involves local and state authorities to see if you have any kind of record or any red flags come up. And it's a pretty effective system as these systems go, and then you can buy the weapon. Usually it takes 30 minutes. Sometimes they're very busy, like if you're at an NRA show, which I go to, maybe it'll take 45 minutes or an hour, so be it. So there are background checks. In terms of automatic weapons, you can't purchase an automatic weapon without about a 6-month to 1-year review by the Treasury Department. And most of the time you won't get it because you don't need it, they say. So they talk about semi-automatic weapons. What's a semi-automatic weapon? That is a weapon where you have to pull the trigger each time that a bullet is fired. 1 shot, 2 shot, 3 shot, 4 shot. It's not a musket, you know, okay, but it is not an automatic weapon. It is semi-automatic. And I think that's where the confusion comes in. People think semi-automatic just means you put a finger on the trigger and it goes slower. No. No, it doesn't go slower. You have to pull the trigger each time. An assault weapon, there's no such thing as an assault weapon. Weapons don't assault. And so this is nomenclature that's given to weapons by the left, and it's taken hold like so many other things take hold in this country. A frying pan can be an assault weapon. A knife, like in Idaho, can be an assault weapon. A car, if you drive into somebody to try and kill them, that's an assault weapon. This can be an assault weapon if you're a UFC fighter or somebody like that. So to say that this rifle is an assault weapon. Or they'll use the phrase a military-style weapon, again intended to confuse you. A military-style weapon is nothing like a civilian version of the same weapon. It's nothing like it. And so military style, what they mean by that is the looks. Ooh, that looks like a military weapon. But it's not a military weapon, but it looks like it. And the AR-15 is the big rifle that they attack. Why? When it comes to rifles, that's a mid-range rifle. It's a rifle that's used to shoot deer and so forth. It's not a powerful rifle. I mean, it can kill you. A lot of things can kill you. But they make it like that's the problem. Actually, that's not the problem. The problem is what takes place mostly in our inner cities, gang crimes and drug crimes, things of that sort. Now, having said all that, this is horrific what's taken place, and let's see and you can get an insight into what the insane left is thinking by watching insane people on MSNBC like Joe Scarborough and his wife Mika. Go.
In this country, we have 334 million people, and we have 393 million guns.
This guy's name is Robinson. He's a leftist. He writes for the for the Washington Post. He sits on the Pulitzer Committee, and this is the endless fallback position for the Democrats and the media and the left. Now think about it. If we have 50 million, 60 million, or 100 billion guns, the vast, vast majority of people are law-abiding, right? If the vast majority of people weren't law-abiding, you'd have 1 million, 2 million deaths every year. I'm just pointing it out. And it's also a way for them to embrace their radical left Marxist view when it comes to law enforcement and judging. So they will support what just took place in Washington, D.C., what took place in Illinois, what took place in New York, and other places, which is you commit a crime, so what? You go in the front door and out the back door. And the person who's really watched is the cop that brings you in. Or the Soros prosecutors that aren't prosecutors. They're fake prosecutors, where he helps elect these people that have as their goal not to prosecute crimes. So they undermine the system that way, or activist left-wing judges. You go through the whole process, and their sentence is something minimal. And they're back out. The criminal justice system is broken because of the Democrat Party, the media, and the left. It's broken because of them. We know how to enforce the laws. We know how to capture bad guys. We know where they ought to go. We know how long they ought to go there. But the left has upended the entire damn thing. The entire damn thing by using race and all the rest of it. Go.
We are outnumbered by our weapons of war, and that should be absolutely unacceptable to every American, because it puts us, every one of us, in a needless danger.
No, it doesn't. Weapons of war? Weapons of war. Is every gun a weapon of war? Is every rifle a weapon of war? What's a weapon of war? If these guys believe in reducing or eliminating the Second Amendment, why don't they go through Congress and give it a shot? Because the vast majority of the American people and their representatives don't support it. So they're constantly trying to figure out a way to upend this. They don't even have all the facts as of this airing of this program. They don't even have all the facts. We don't know if they went through the system, if they stole it from a neighbor, if they stole it from a gun shop, if they got it from a drug cartel over the border. We don't have the foggiest idea. Go ahead.
Danger, because there are just simply too many guns, and
not too many guns. If I had 500,000 guns stored in my house, it may be too many guns to actually use, but I'm not going to commit any crimes with 500,000 guns. No, but one nut with one gun can do a lot of damage. One nut with one serrated knife can kill 4 people. One nut with a truck full of fertilizer can blow up a federal building. One nut in the White House could leave our borders open so drug cartels can kill people, can kidnap people, can sex slave people, can send fentanyl and other killing drugs across the border and commit all kinds of crimes. It only takes one nut. Go ahead.
Won't even do what we did successfully in the 90s and the early aughts.
No, he's talking about 1994, and Biden talks about it, the semi-automatic weapon ban, or whatever the hell they called it. They signed it into law with a lot of great fanfare. John Lott's done a lot of studies on this. You can look them up yourself. He said it had virtually no difference whatsoever. Because people who are law-abiding are not going to use their guns to harm somebody. They might defend themselves, but that's it. They respect the law, or they wouldn't have gone in and gotten a license in the first place. The vast majority of people who kill and don't respect the law are not going to comply with some gun rule when they have the ultimate crime in mind, the killing of other people. So this illogic on their part really exist to protect their ideology, which is soft on crime, soft on criminals, light penalties, phony bail reform, undermining the cops. And notice that's not even considered as a discussion. This is always their fallback position. Too many guns. And as long as that's their fallback position, we will never reduce the amount of killings that take place. Notice they don't ask about their immigration issues related to these two mass murders. I don't know. Were they born in America? Were they born of American citizens? Were they immigrants? Were they illegal immigrants? Notice that's not even discussed. I'm not making any accusations. I have no idea. But it would be nice. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people there. It would be nice if one of them had a rational thought process.
For all this and much more, sign up for Levin TV.